In the hallowed halls of Eldridge University, where ivy clung to brick like forgotten dreams and the air hummed with the whispers of privilege, Jamal Washington stepped into Professor Harlan's advanced topology seminar on a crisp autumn morning. He was 22, with skin the deep mahogany of ancient oaks and eyes that held the quiet fire of stars unseen. Dressed in a faded hoodie and jeans that had seen better days, Jamal carried a worn backpack slung over one shoulder, its zipper half broken from years of faithful service. He had earned his spot here not through legacy or loans, but through sheer grit, scholarships pieced together from community college triumphs and late-night shifts at a diner where the grease never quite washed off his hands. As he slid into a seat at the back, the room's murmur dipped into a subtle chill. Whispers slithered like shadows, affirmative action pick, one voice sneered. Doesn't belong, another echoed. Jamal felt their eyes, sharp as scalpels, dissecting him before he could even open his notebook. But he breathed deep, remembering his grandmother's words, "Child, the world tests you not to break you, but to reveal the gold inside." Professor Elias Harlan, a silver-haired titan of academia with a Nobel nomination etched into his curriculum vitae like a badge of honor, paced the front of the lecture hall. His tweed jacket strained against a belly softened by years of catered symposiums, and his voice boomed with the authority of a man who had never known doubt. Today, the topic was the Riemann hypothesis, one of mathematics' most elusive enigmas, a puzzle that had haunted geniuses for over a century. Harlan's eyes scanned the room, lingering on Jamal with a predatory glint. "Gentlemen, and ladies," he drawled, his gaze skipping over Jamal as if he were a smudge on the chalkboard, "this is no place for dilettantes. Today, we dissect the infinite. Who among you dares to prove that all non-trivial zeros of the zeta function lie on the critical line?" The class shifted uneasily, even the valedictorians paled at the challenge. Harlan's smile was a thin blade. He had a reputation for culling the weak, and in Jamal, he saw fresh prey, a black student from the inner city, admitted under what Harlan privately called the diversity quota. It was an open secret among the faculty, Harlan's barbs were sharper when the room held outsiders. He pointed a gnarled finger at Jamal. "You, Mr. Washington. Enlighten us. Or are you here just to fill a seat?" The room erupted in stifled snickers, a chorus of entitlement that clawed at Jamal's chest. His heart pounded, not from fear, but from the familiar ache of being measured by skin rather than soul. He rose slowly, his 6-foot frame unfolding like a tree reaching for light. The class fell silent, waiting for the stumble, the stammer that would justify their scorn. Jamal's mind, however, was a whirlwind, a vast cosmos where numbers danced like fireflies. Back home in Detroit, math had been his sanctuary. While bullets cracked the night outside his window and his single mother juggled 2 jobs, Jamal had pored over library books under a bare bulb, unraveling equations that promised escape. At 15, he had bested a national math Olympiad, his solutions so elegant they drew whispers from Ivy League scouts. But genius, he knew, was a quiet thing, easily dismissed in a world that prized pedigrees over potential. "Professor," Jamal began, his voice steady as a heartbeat, "the hypothesis isn't about proof in a single leap. It's about patterns. Zetas dance along S equals 1/2. He stepped to the board, chalk in hand, and began sketching, complex planes blooming under his touch, zeros aligning like obedient soldiers. Harlan's smirk faltered as Jamal wove through the functional equation, citing Ramanujan's insights with the ease of breathing. But Harlan was not one to yield. He interrupted with a scoff. "Amateur theatrics, Mr. Washington. Anyone can parrot textbooks. Prove it, or sit down." The class leaned in, hungry for humiliation. Jamal paused, chalk hovering. In that suspended moment, a memory flooded him, his grandmother, frail in her hospice bed, pressing a tattered Bible into his hands. "Numbers are God's language, baby," she had whispered, her voice a threadbare veil over pain. "But love? That's the real infinite." He could taste the bile of resentment rising, the urge to dismantle Harlan with a theorem so profound it would shatter the man's ego like glass. Instead, Jamal smiled, a small, defiant curve of lips, and continued, not with fury, but with grace. He introduced a novel contour integral, twisting the zeta function through a path that skirted the critical strip, his lines flowing like jazz improvisation. Gasps rippled through the room as the board filled. A proof sketch, elegant and unassailable, hinting at zeros confined to the line with probabilistic certainty that bordered on revelation. Harlan's face drained of color, his hand trembling on the podium. This is impossible, he muttered, but the class erupted in applause, tentative at first, then thunderous. Jamal returned to his seat amid the chaos, his hoodie now a cape of quiet triumph. Word of the seminar spread like wildfire through Eldridge's Gothic corridors. By afternoon, Jamal found himself cornered in the faculty lounge, uninvited, yet summoned by whispers. Professor Lydia Voss, a soft-spoken algebraic geometer with wire-rimmed glasses and a mane of silver curls, had pulled him aside after class. She was the department's outlier, a woman who had clawed her way up in the 70s, enduring her own barrages of doubt. "Jamal," she said, her voice warm as chamomile tea, "what you did today, it wasn't just math. It was poetry." But as they spoke, the door swung open, and in strode Harlan, flanked by two colleagues, Dr. Reginald Thorpe, a smug number theorist with a bowtie perpetually askew, and Professor Elena Marquez, whose research on elliptic curves had once graced the cover of Annals of Mathematics. Their eyes gleamed with malice masked as curiosity. "Washington," Harlan barked, ignoring Voss, "your little parlor trick. Explain it again. Properly this time." Thorpe chuckled, a low rumble. "Yes, young man. We wouldn't want the dean thinking we've lowered standards." Jamal's stomach nodded. This was no invitation, it was an inquisition. The lounge, with its leather armchairs and walls lined with dusty tomes, felt like a cage. Marquez leaned against a bookshelf, arms crossed, her Latina heritage no shield against the old boys' club she navigated with weary precision. "Impress us," she said, her tone laced with skepticism. "Or admit its borrowed brilliance." Voss protested, but Harlan waved her off. "This is for his own good. Humility, Mr. Washington. It's the cornerstone of true scholarship." The air thickened with unspoken slurs, the assumption that a black man from the projects couldn't possibly forge genius from scratch. Jamal saw it in their postures, Harlan's puffed chest, Thorpe's condescending tilt of head, Marquez's averted eyes, complicit in the charade. He could walk away, let their pettiness fester. But something deeper stirred, a profound realization crystallizing in his chest.